Welcome to the Butterfly Chamber with J.R. McDonald. The thoughts and views expressed on this episode of the Butterfly Chamber does not reflect the views of any organization with which the hosts or guests may be affiliated with.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Butterfly Chamber with J.R. McDonald. I'm so excited to be with all of you. It's been a couple of days. It's been a little minute, but guess what? We back at it again with the back at it again. And you know how we do it here. This is the place where we can get into our zone, our space, our chamber, and embrace our solitude, embrace our evolution, and hopefully, metamorphosis, I think that's the word, into the butterfly that we have become, that we're truly meant to be, because everything is working on purpose for a purpose, even this and that. And sometimes, just sometimes along our journey, we meet some amazing people, individuals that we invite into our chamber as we walk and journey together. And guess what? I have someone with me today that I met when I first moved to Charlotte, and I was only a couple months in, just navigating these highways and byways. Some of y'all call it streets, but I'm not on these regular streets. I'm on the highways and byways, baby. So I met this amazing soul. She goes by the name of Desiree Sprauve. She is the founder and CEO of the Wellness You Desire. But that's not all she's about. That's not all she is, because we are multifaceted, we are multi-hyphenate, we are this and that. So I'm going to bring to the stage right now and welcome, and she can tell you better than I can, Desiree.
Yay! Thank you, James, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be in your presence, as always. And we met a few months ago, and it's always been love. And I know it's going to continue that way.
Yes. It is good. It is good. I'm so excited to have you on the Butterfly Chamber and to, be here with I like to call them the village. To be here with our people, because in the village we take care of each other, right?
Right.
So that's what we do here. We are about sharing as we learn, and as we learn, we try our best to bring another along with us. So I hope,
remember, each one teach one.
Each one teach one. Yes, that is so right. So Des, I want you to give an opportunity right now. Let's say 60 seconds or less. Tell us, who are you?
I always love that question, because as a spiritual practitioner, I can go the really philosophical route, and then I
Yeah.
can go the normal route. And from a philosophical lens, I'm really a spirit that's like a manifestation of God in all the ways that God may manifest in this world. And so each of us are really manifestations of that. And we're just all on a mission. And so that's what I am doing. I am a spirit on a mission who's very, very intentional about being heart led. And so if I give the normal answer of who am I am a women's and maternal health and wellness practitioner. I am a love-led leader, a spiritual guide. I show up in all these different mediums, but my purpose and my mission is to guide women to healing, to guide women to their deeper selves, to guide women to spiritual freedom, right? And so because of that, I show up in the mediums of a doula, a yogi, a meditation teacher, a health and wellness coach. My background before all of the wellness, I worked in aerospace for several years. I worked in automotive for several years, right? And so I'm really a person who is listening to God and acting out what God is placing on my heart. And so that's how I show up in the world. That's really who I am. Very high level, sister, daughter, friend. But I'm a spirit on a mission, first and foremost.
Yes, y'all give it up for my girl. Give it up. Give it up.
Give it
She
to
is
you.
all that and more. Thank you for sharing a piece of who you are with us. One of the words that stuck out to me when you were just kind of describing some of these mediums was heart led. And when I
Mm-hmm.
heard heart led, because many times heart led to me, when I hear that, and I would love to get an understanding from you, when I hear about heart led, to me, a lot of growth has to come with being heart led.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
and I just want to know, like, as um, a person that is leading, being led by the heart, how are you? How have you grown? How have you come to this place? Because to me, I also feel like being heart led, there is some uniqueness about you, that there's some spaces and places that you have to be very cognizant of what you're around, because I think being heart led also means that your heart is also very vulnerable, um,
Yes.
and very receptive to its surroundings.
Mm. What a
How did you
beautiful
get to that?
question.
Yeah.
How did I get to that? You are very vulnerable when you are a heart-led person, but you also become very wise in having like discernment and using your intuition to know who to let in and who you love from a particular distance. And so I can share the wisdom and the teachings and the experiences and the education that I've learned over the years with anyone, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone needs to be in my particular space, because how I'm maneuvering in this world has nothing to do with anyone but what God is telling me. Years and years ago, my mom realized, she was like, that girl is on a mission. I'm gonna just support
Hmm.
her with whatever it is that she has going on. It like was becoming a point where she was like, okay, I understand now, right? Which can be really difficult for
Yeah.
a mom to experience. I mean, from young, I was like, what are you going to do when I move on? Like,
Right.
yeah. So I became really compassionate and heart led and empathetic throughout my life, but it's because I've seen so much in my life, right? I'm 33 years old. I think I've seen a little piece of kind of everything that one may experience in life, except something more egregious like war or anything like that. And so growing up in Brooklyn, and I grew up in Canarsie, Brooklyn, which is a predominantly like Caribbean, middle class, like
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Come on, BX Borough.
I don't know
No,
about that.
BK. BK.
Whoa,
Ooh. I was
woo.
in BX, y'all. I was in BX. I put myself on her. BK all day, right?
BK all day. Thank you very much.
If you could see her face when I said that, she said, wait a minute. Hold
Wait a
on.
minute. Pause for a second. Now I'm back with the jump off. So,
Yes.
um, but yeah, I think because I had a really unique upbringing, right? I'm raised by, in this Caribbean neighborhood. My grandma's from the Virgin Islands. My dad is from Jamaica. And so I have a really unique lens on different communities. I've seen poverty, like real poverty. I've seen people going to go prostitute, right? I've seen drug
Yeah.
dealers. I've seen people who were really good kids, but somehow still ended up in the gangs and the violence. I've seen my high school classmates going to jail, or some of them not making it to even see 18, 19, right? And so when I think about all of those different things, and those are all external, but even my own internal experience of not having my dad growing up, having a really loving and supportive mom, but sometimes we didn't have all the ends kind of touching,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of these different experiences kind of gave me a lens of the world to see, okay, we can't judge a book by its cover, because we really don't know what's going on with their spirit. when you see someone who's really mad or angry, we don't know what happened to that person. When you see a homeless person, we don't really understand how did they get there. And so I go to heart led because I've seen so much that allowed me to have a lens of openness, of understanding, of compassion for those who are different, those who are having other experiences, and even my own life experiences. Fortunately, I had a pretty decent life, but there were things that I was exposed to from other people's lives that really gave me a lot of insight outside of whatever it was that I was experiencing. So majority of my life has been not having, the dad. Sometimes the ends wasn't meeting. I had a very long-term boyfriend who I didn't realize until maybe a few years ago was a little bit abusive, in that time, moving to these different states. And so I have to learn different people and experiences. So that culmination kind of really granted me this version of myself that I'm able to be today, where I can't really judge those who are addicted, or those who are not taking care of their womb, or those who are overweight, none of it can really be deeply judged, because we know that there's something that needs to be uprooted within that.
Yeah.
That's a long story, but
No, thank you so much for sharing that. And I even identify, as someone that moved to BX. And so in New York, at 24 years old, out of college, those years, 12 years there, 12 years in New York City was transformational. One, I took a faith walk there. I didn't know anyone truly there. I did not have but a savings, no job. I just went and said I needed to be out of Louisiana, and I needed to grow up. I needed to do it my way. And when I tell you, there's like the things that you're talking about, like being around different cultures, seeing homeless on the street, and hearing the things that my mom would tell me growing up, and saying like, you better be thankful for that food or those shoes you have, because trust me, somebody else wants them. And I'm like, don't nobody want this. Growing up as a kid, I'm like, oh, nobody wants this. I'm going to throw this food away. Let me tell you, I would throw something away in New York on the street, and 30 minutes later, I see someone with it, or it's gone, or it's not there. And it made me look inward at my own heart and say, wisdom is what your mom had. You're navigating thinking you know it all at your young, tender age, but wisdom is what your mom had. And she had insight and perspective into things that time would hopefully show me. And time showed me a lot in New York City. Like, I am thankful for that experience. I'm thankful for being around so many different types of cultures. But going to the food, I'm so thankful for them oxtails that I got while I was in New York.
I don't eat oxtail anymore, but back in my day.
back when? Yes. We didn't have oxtails growing up. Like when I first had oxtails, it was one of the ladies at church. She was like, baby, you haven't had no oxtails? And I was trying to do my best voice there. Sorry. She was like, oh, come. She had a restaurant.
Wow.
Took me to a restaurant after church. The oxtails that we had falling off that bone. I immediately called my dad when I got home, and my mom. I had them on speaker. I said, why we didn't have no oxtail growing up? What was it? And we had this conversation, and what they told me was it was an expensive cut of meat.
It is very expensive.
And I was so confused because everyone I talked to from, and I just started loving just Caribbean food. I was getting festival. I was the rice and peas. I was just living. So now any type of, I just love it. So it is what I love about New York City is it truly is, a combination of collision. It could be so many things at once, but it's what I tell people is such a beautiful, sweet, nasty, rough place. Like it's gritty. it's really, it's one of those,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, like, I remember, and I'm going to just stop here, but I just remember only having from paycheck to paycheck $5, but making it stretch
Mhm.
by going to Two Bros and getting dollar pizza for
Yep.
lunch.
Okay. Yep. That's what we did after high school. That's after high school.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I think
goodness. So as you're
New
talking about
York
your
is
experience,
all
I'm
of
just
it.
like picturing it. Like,
Yeah. I feel like I'm not sure if you've ever heard that quote. That I am that, or I am that I am. And so New
mm,
York is all of the things. It is the gritty, it is the luxury, it is the darkness, it is the
mm,
light, it is the clean, it is the dirty, it is everything. And so that's
mm,
why New Yorkers tend to be able to kind of live anywhere because there's not going to be something that's going to really surprise us or really shock us. It's like, I've seen a rat really bounce on the train station, like, or whatever, like the most random thing you can think of,
yes.
we've seen it.
It's
So,
happened. Exactly, exactly. Thank you for that because I always wonder because of course I went there and out of college, but I always wonder what was it like for someone that grew up in New York City, growing up, especially whether it was the early 2000s or the 90s. Like, I feel
mhm,
like things that happen start there first. It
yeah,
just happens, but like when I wanted to go places, I had to get permission from my parents because they had to take me, or if they didn't feel like it, I didn't get a chance to go. But I would see
mm,
kids on the train coming from Harlem going down to Lower East Side, or they're going to Queens for some, or they're going to the mall. I'm just like, with no parents, it's just them on the train and
mm,
they're moving and shaking. And then I also seen people that never left their neighborhood. And I would
yeah,
be like, I would mentor kids there, and I'm like, hey, let's go down to 14th Street. 14th Street. What? Like I'm
mhm,
I'm just on 125. That's the furthest I
yep,
go, 125. And I was
yep,
like, what?
yeah,
So
whew, yeah,
New
you're
York
right.
City, New York City,
Mhm,
a time indeed. So,
yes.
how did you become thinking more into the purpose and you
Mm.
know some of the passion? How did you become a holistic women and maternal health wellness coach?
Yeah, I love that question. So it always goes back to my upbringing, right? Being Caribbean, you typically are going to lean a little bit towards nature. You're typically going to lean towards natural remedies, natural healing, uses plants as medicine. That's just the household that was raised in. You're sick, here's some tea. You want your skin to clear up, you use some aloe leaf. So there's always a natural remedy that was like present and wasn't abnormal. So this was really my life. But then when I got to college, I went to Howard University in DC. Um, that was kind of strange. People thought I was
Mm,
really, really strange when I got there because to them I had an accent. I'm like, I don't have an accent. Y'all are tripping. So,
right.
but to everyone else, I appeared to have an accent.
Huh.
And so they didn't understand me and they were like, why won't you just take aspirin? And I was like, we don't do that. And so I started to feel myself being separate from people, and I didn't like that feeling. And so what I started to do was just kind of like adapt. I started drinking, I started having a time, I started,
Assimilating.
metaphorically, yeah, thank you, that's the word,
Mm-hmm.
assimilating and just trying to like be in the streets, like everyone else. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still in my books, okay, I was still a great student, but
Hello.
hello. um yeah, so I just started going down the path that I thought was set for me, the path that you're supposed to do. Go to a really good college. Right after college, I went to work for Chrysler, so I worked in the automotive industry. I did supply chain management for several years, then global purchasing. I was a global lead buyer, managed $393 million. Like, I was
Yes.
really, really navigating in the masculine,
Mm.
really navigating in the masculine for a long time. And so then when I left, automotive, I went to aerospace in Connecticut, which was closer to my mom and my grandma, which was really important to me because I can tell my grandma was getting older. And I was just managing in that space. And then I got the calling. Okay. There's usually a time in someone's life where, if there's still enough, they may hear a message. And they may hear something that is not in alignment with the version of life that they're living today, right? So I'm in aerospace, I'm going to Japan, I'm back and forth,
Wow.
and all of a sudden I kept on getting this message, doula, doula, doula. And I'm like, what in the world? I really wasn't secure in my spirituality yet. I didn't have an understanding of what that voice was, what that message was. I really just genuinely didn't know nor understand. And eventually, it's a much longer story, but eventually I ended up answering that calling because it was coming up in my dreams. I was seeing myself supporting women in birth. I was seeing people like learning from me and me guiding people. It was so prevalent in my dreams. And then also when we think about the maternal mortality rates that Black women are experiencing in America and abroad, I was like, oh no, something needs to happen. I was seeing too many stories of women transitioning for really no good reason. And so all of that was coming up for me. And one day, my friend, I was talking about it so much. My friend was like, girl, just book the class. Like, she's like, just click the submit button. Like, at the time, I was making really good money. So I have no idea why I was so hesitant on
Right.
clicking the button. And the class was like, I don't know, $700 or something. But that
You
is
knew it was going to unlock something.
yeah, yes, exactly. And I knew once I clicked that submit payment button, my life would never be the same.
Yes. Yes.
And my word, that was 2017. My word that year was surrender. I have never in my life considered the word surrender up until that point.
Wow.
So, you know, I lived a very academic life, a very masculine life because I'm solving all these problems all the time. My job is risk management and getting parts from Japan to here, solving any problem that can happen between manufacturing, engineering, quality, logistics, anything that could possibly happen. That was my gaze, that was my focus, and I thought that was the right thing for me. And it was for that time. But when you sit down and you listen to the calling that's placed upon your heart and you surrender to it, wow, your life is going to change. Your life is going to shift, you know, and that shift comes with uncomfortability every time. But we still surrender to it every time.
Yeah.
So that was like the beginning of me listening to God and also tapping into more of my spirituality. I had started my real spiritual awakening in 2014, but this was like, now I'm listening. It wasn't just information. Now it was like acting on this calling message that I'm receiving. And that opened up the door to everything, James.
Yeah.
I became, in that training, I learned about more herbs. I learned about the medical side of birth. I learned about so much. I mean, everything that you can think of from all of these different lenses: homeopathic medicine, naturopathic, allopathic, you know, all of these different forms of healing. And then I became a meditation teacher and a yogi and a sensuality and intimacy coach. And then it just kept expanding and expanding. I have so many certifications, child, but
come on now. She is not without her certs. She is not only called, but she's qualified. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
But
so I've done
one of
so
the things
much,
that,
and that's how I got here. Mm-hmm.
yeah, what just stuck out to me was anything that we want to do, we have to make sure that we surrender.
Yes.
And stillness is involved in that.
Yes.
Because and I think so many times many of us are so busy, and I used to call it busy doing nothing, but we'd be so busy
Mm-hmm.
in the busyness of life that we can't hear what our next steps, there's a word, we want God to order our steps, but the only way
Yes.
you're going to receive the order is to be open eared to what he has for us, or, what, and I feel like sometimes people are looking outwardly for God, but I feel like God is within. Um,
100%.
and so stillness, and so everyone, as you are listening, and maybe you're just tuning in now, because maybe you just fast forward for whatever reason, I am talking with Desiree Sprauve, and I am learning with you. And the more that I learn, the more that I'm also understanding why we're connected. So I'm thankful for this. So I'm
Mm,
having an aha. But
mm,
it is the moments that we recognize that what we need is in here, that we just have to tap into it,
yes.
and sometimes I think we may know it, or we learn it and we start trying to run from it, or we start trying
Mm,
to fight it, because we know that if we really act, if we really surrender, our life will never be the same. As you said,
never.
like you had it in dreams. You were seeing this. People were telling you, you had the friend that said, "Hey, come on, girl, go ahead, click
Right.
the button, do it." And we need those people too, because not only do we have
Mm-hmm.
to, because sometimes we'll make dreams make it seem like that's not real, that's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone we can touch and feel starts to tell us and speak on the things that only we know we've talked about internally, or
Yes.
we only know those like blueprint plans for it, it's like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And
Exactly.
sometimes in our purpose, we don't walk in it confidently. Sometimes we are drug
Mm-hmm.
into it. We're dragged,
Yes.
and saying,
Yes.
"Come on," and then we're all the better for it, and those around us too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
I love that. I love that. And so with that journey, with all that was being opened up, and I hope everyone also got the fact of too, you don't have to. We statistics say we evolve every 7 years, right?
Right.
Everyone's evolving. The person you met 7 years ago is not the same person today, right? I believe that it may be even sooner to me, because as you learn, I feel like evolution is happening.
Amen.
As you meet, as you experience life, like you said, you were in Japan, you were doing this. As you're awakened, a new you is a seed is being planted.
Okay. And guess what? They're actually both living simultaneously. The version of myself in the past is still existing in the past. The future of me is still existing.
Come on now. Come on
Okay.
now. And sometimes they be fighting. The old me and the new me.
Hello. Hello. How do we get from 1.0 to 2?
I heard someone saying, I don't know why I can't think. Oh, I went to the Kirk Franklin reunion tour last night. And and I
So
tell you that
jealous. I saw the
it
videos.
it was so good. But I tell you, Kirk, one thing I have to say is Kirk Franklin is not singing a note, a song, or anything. He is directing the choir, and the choir was the audience.
Mm-hmm. Right,
But
right, right.
it was us. He was so energetic. That shirt was unbuttoned all the way down to his navel. He was Michael Jackson, James Brown, and Kirk Franklin all in one. And I was living. I was living. But one of
I
the
love
things
it.
he said was that get to the finish line, even if you get there wounded. And when I tell you, I must
Mm,
have turned around in there, because sometimes
mm.
the old you and the new you that's fighting, that old you that does not want to tap out, may
Yep.
end up injuring pieces of you as your new you is being birthed. So you may have some blemishes, you may have some bruises, but as long as you get to the finish line.
Oof.
And I was
That
like,
is a word.
heard you, heard you. I can't
Mm.
expect to get there unscathed in the journey.
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of the issue sometimes is people think that change comes with ease and ease only. And discomfort really is a qualifier for a shift.
Okay.
Like you have to,
Yeah.
um, in order for you to appreciate the change that you're about to experience, you need to shift and grow and mold. Just like if we were like in, I don't know, Play-Doh or something, and we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to shift and mold into a new shape, a new form, that's uncomfortable. That doesn't feel like ease. It's not happening fluidity. Sometimes it does, but typically it has to come in the discomfort. And the sooner that we accept that, the more ease it is in the next transition that you have. Because as you said, we're always in transition. The
Yeah.
only constant is change.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you have for the woman that's listening right now,
Mm-hmm.
or the person that's listening right now that feels like all my life I had to fight? Where they
Mm-hmm.
just feel like it's always hard. Why can't anything be easy?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for that person as we're trying to nourish their mind, body, and spirit?
Yeah. That experience is more common than it is not common,
Mm, okay.
And I think that it has to shift with one's mindset. Once you get a hold of your own thoughts, then you can shift your life, because the thoughts that we continue to tell ourselves are exactly the thing that we need in order to manifest a new version of ourselves. So it's gonna sound silly at first, like you are living somewhere, you have no money, you have no food, you're really downtrodden, you've been abused, you've been hurt, all of these different things, right? I've been there too, 100%.
Yeah.
You continue to tell yourself, excuse me, affirmations for the version of yourself that you want to be. You continue to tell yourself that it's possible. You continue to take free resources and use it to your advantage to show you things that are possible. So YouTube is free if you have internet access. So begin to fill yourself up with spiritual teachers, fill yourself up
Mm,
with affirmations, fill yourself up with those stories of people who were in your experience before and are now on the opposite side. Listen to what they did. You know, I want people to consider that there's so many tools to healing. There's so many tools to shift your current experience. And so, but it must start with you telling yourself that it is.
yes. Yes. I just love that. And thank you for that. And I hope that that meets someone where they are, because I think it's so important for us to recognize that you're not alone.
Mm,
There are some others in this space, in this world, even if it's not in your circle, seeking them out. As you said, YouTube is a great teacher. Finding someone that has been down the road that you have, and don't be afraid to ask those questions of how you got over. How are you doing it? What did you do? Because it's healthy. So thank you for that, and hopefully that nourishes someone's temple. And speaking of temple, one of the things that I really love about the work that you do is that there's this piece of the temple that sticks out to me, that I would not have any expertise in. So I'm so glad that you're here. Um, but it's womb care. Why is it an important part of the temple that you chose to focus on?
yeah. You know, there are a lot of women who are disconnected from their womb. I would almost say that most women in America are disconnected from their womb. And we may not realize that the womb is really a portal. That's where we birth our children. That's where we birth the next generation, our next of kin. It is where we birth ideas. It's where we experience sensuality and intimacy. It's where we create. We're naturally creators. And so when people have an opportunity to connect to their womb, it really empowers them, right? And so I came into womb care at the same time that I was having my calling to become a doula. And so inevitably, obviously birth is very connected to the womb. But I started focusing or really expanding from only pregnancy and postpartum to also focusing on womb care, because healthy pregnancies start before people are even pregnant. Okay. Healthy pregnancies are happening before you're pregnant. So if we are looking to decrease the maternal mortality rate, we have to get to the root cause outside of implicit bias and racism and
Right.
the medical industry. Outside of that, the things within our own control. What is it that we can do? And so that's why I began to focus on womb care. When I was growing up, I had the worst menstrual cramps ever. I mean, literally on the floor, crying, talking to God, I never took pills, but I used to take like this powder stuff that is really not good for the lining of your entire digestive tract. And I was unwell. And so because I was unwell, much like, most people, when they have an experience and it brings them on this path of healing, and then they can subsequently teach others. And so that's how I began to go on this path of healing for myself. And that started 2014, 15, somewhere around there, where I was like, this is for the birds.
Right.
I really need to learn about this. And then when I became a doula and started to see that womb care is a spiritual practice, I was like, oh, there's really something here. And when I say womb care is a spiritual practice, it
Yeah.
means spirituality is the idea of connecting to ourselves and connecting to the divine, whatever the divine may be for you. And so if you are a creator and you're tapping into the higher source, who is the creator, you are deeply connected. You can receive messages. You can create grandeur. You can birth children. You can birth generations when you begin to tap into the space, when you know your power, when you know that you are a wise woman, when you know that you are a sensual being, and so often that is robbed from us, that is taken from us. There are so many women whose entire reproductive history is in the hands of others, are in the hands of white men, right? Given going back to the times of enslavement, right? They were our predecessors were experimented on with no anesthesia, you know? And so their wombs were unwell. And we know about epigenetics that transfers down generations to generation to generation. So, how do we tap back in? How do we take back our power? How do we explore versions of ourselves that we have yet to tap into, that maybe our moms didn't tap into and our grandmas, so no one was here to teach us? And so we learn from our ancestral wisdom, from elders, from people like myself who focus on womb care, and we become because of that. So in a sense, when you practice womb care, you are also birthing yourself, the different versions of yourself, while you're tapping in. And so womb care is really, really important. And I know a lot of times people focus on like, oh, wombs are just for babies. No, your womb is for you.
Mm.
You know?
The womb is for you.
Yeah. And then you can give with your overflow.
Yes, yes.
I just have another thought that just came past me is, when we care for our wombs, our daughters see that, our sons see that. Okay. So the next version of generations that are going to come past are going to know, okay, my womb feels a little bit weird. Let me grab some raspberry leaf tea. Let me go into nature and grab some ginger root, and we become deeper, closer, more connected to nature, which makes us kind of better human beings. When we can connect to nature, when we can connect to the sky and the plants, then you can definitely connect to your brother, your sister, your community, the world. And so it's not even just about your womb. It's how do you tap in enough to expand your awareness, your understanding, to connect, to teach, to love.
Yeah. Yeah. And when, in your point of view, is the best time to start caring for your womb?
Mm.
Is it a point to you where you feel like, oh, it's too late? Is now the right time? When is the right time? And, as we're thinking of time, what can women do to promote healthy womb care?
Yeah. Um, Much like when people say the time to start focusing on your finances was yesterday. So
Well, there you have it. There it is.
there is no moment where you do not have the opportunity, if you are breathing, you have the opportunity to still connect to your womb. Okay. Even when you're in your 90s, when you are a youth, right? These are tools that we can begin to teach our young ladies and our young boys about womb health and pelvic health from a very young age, because you want to teach them what are foods that are going to be inflammatory to the body,
Yeah.
right? That technically is not about the womb, but it is about the womb, because when we have an inflamed colon, when we have an inflamed liver because of the processed foods and everything that we're eating, then our wombs are affected. But we teach the children from youth healthier food practices, lifestyle, cleaning products, teach them about their menses from when they're young so that they are aware. People become empowered when they know about, how do I want to say, sacred anatomy, you know,
Mm,
using the proper terms so that, we're not calling it a pocketbook, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
this is your vulva. And so that way we can kind of also avoid abuse, so that if you're telling your mom, somebody touched my pocketbook, it's not going to translate the same if you're not
Yeah.
using the proper terms,
That's
right?
right.
And
That's
so
right.
this is how we teach womb care without going deep into like sensuality and creation and birth and all of these different things from young. And then even my mom learned so much from me because she wasn't taught these things. She
Hmm.
doesn't know, anything about this space. And so it's an opportunity for me to heal generations forward and heal generations that have already existed and are already living presently. And so, yeah, to your question about how do women begin to tap in, there's so many ways. And I
Right.
think there's so many ways that a woman can tap in. And I want to invite women or people with wombs to realize all it starts with is asking a question, saying a statement. I want to be connected to my womb.
Yeah.
I think usually when we ask, we shall receive. I think that's how it goes,
Yeah.
you know? And so all of a sudden, you'll begin to hear stories online. You may suddenly have awareness about, oh, so and so's a womb practitioner. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Maybe you may pop up things on your Google. And so just saying the question out loud, not even to anyone, you don't have to, is going to shift what is in your awareness. Okay, just like if you say, oh man, I really want a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now your awareness is heightened to Jeep Grand Cherokees. That is
Mm.
what you're going to start to see,
And you
right?
start seeing them Cherokees everywhere.
Every time that I have to manifest.
Yeah.
Okay. uh, but yes, you start by saying that out loud first and foremost. Maybe you just place your hands, right? Maybe warm some oil in your hands and place your hands on your womb and your womb space. and just connect. What does that feel like? Most of the time, we're not taking the moment to pause and put our hands on our pelvis and feel the warmth transferring from your hands to your skin, you know? And so it just starts with things really simple. I think a lot of times people think that we need to go into some big womb ceremony and start doing the spiritual baths and everything like that. It starts with this, something as simple as a question and touch.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that for someone that needs the permission
Mm.
or the reminder that they have the tools. Ask the question, ask and ye shall receive, and it
Yes.
will be open to them, because some people just don't know. Some women just don't know. And, as we are always learning, so the more we know, the more we're able to continue to heal on purpose and evolve. So I appreciate you sharing that. And of course, everyone, as we're being opened up to all of the practices and the purpose of Desiree, you will have the opportunity to tap in with her. She's going to share all of her information, because I also believe that as you're connecting with practitioners and people that are on this heart-led journey, as she is, it's important to have someone that you can personally connect with. And this is someone that I not only see doing it, but I've also heard of the testimonials, and I can see the light within. So I think that it's awesome to, just like we have therapists, like we have to get into the place where we have we have guidance. We have people that are not only they're qualified to help speak and empower us along this journey, as we are trying to be the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly.
As you are being in this space, and we're going to shift in a moment, but have you found mentors in this space? How have you been carving out your own lane?
Yes. Yes, you need mentors. I am someone who really respects my teachers. I love my teachers because when you impart wisdom in me, I can do something magnificent in this world. So to me, it's like a gift. And so I love, love, love my teachers. And I'm fortunate to have some of the best teachers kind of like in the world, in America. And so
Yes. You
really,
better give
really,
it up for your teachers.
and the teachers do what they do. So I adore them. And so my first teacher, kind of like within this space, was my doula teacher, Latham Thomas, and she's considered like a, I don't know, global celebrity doula. She's a professor at Boston University. She's like such a reproductive, like health and rights. She's such a wise woman. And because of her, I was able to see myself. I wasn't really able, this is like, I was coming straight from aerospace. First of all, I was the only Black person usually. I was typically the only woman, likely the only person at that time. I was under 30. You know, I didn't see people like me. And so to see her beautiful, long locks, teaching about reproductive health and herbs and yoga and meditation and spirituality, I was like, whoa. So Latham Thomas, I always give thanks to her because she was the beginning, for me. I have teachers, Queen Afua, who's a womb wellness practitioner for over 40 years. I have Christy Shields, who's a yogi and meditation teacher. I have Crystal, can't think of her last name right now. Crystal, she's a tantric practitioner and a yogi, and she taught me sensuality and intimacy, but from a spiritual lens, okay? Nothing like raunchy or anything like that. It's about
Right.
connecting to ourselves and whomever we have as a partner. So, yeah, so many teachers I can go like kind of on and on. But and Chauncey Parchman, who is a like master yogi, and really allowed me to be on this like spiritual understanding with yoga, not just like movements.
Not just the movements. Hey,
Exactly.
I love that. And shout out to the teachers, the mentors that have imparted into your life, because as you said earlier, each one reach one, each one teach one. By imparting into you has allowed them to not only bless you, but be a blessing through you to other people. Like you've blessed so many people too, and it's really about paying it, paying those lessons, paying those teachings forward so that, others can be opened up to the possibilities because they're there.
Exactly. Yeah, someone told me one day, Desiree, if you don't do what you are meant to do on this earth, so many people after you are also not going to be able to do it. And I was like, oh, wow. They're
Mm-hmm.
right. If Latham didn't decide to do her doula program, I wouldn't be here talking to you today.
Right. Right.
So it's a
Right.
huge fact.
Yes. What are you hopeful for in
Ooh.
life in general? What are you hoping for?
Yeah. When I moved to Charlotte a little over a year ago, I like envisioned my apartment a long time ago. And I knew that this apartment was going to be all white and gold, and each room was going to have a different theme. And so in my living room, it's like orange, which is related to the sacral chakra, which is all about creativity and creation, sensuality, etc. My bedroom is yellow. It's about capabilities and things of that nature. And my bathroom is green, which is connected to the heart chakra, which is, and we could talk about chakras another day, but it's just like energy centers. But it's about the heart. And so I want in the near future, while I'm in this space, for all of those things to align and to manifest. I want me to have such profound self-love and love of others and love of a partner and love of a family and like all of that to manifest. I want my full version of myself to show up in the world so that I can continue to teach thousands upon thousands of people in their own like spiritual mind, body, spirit, and womb journey. And I want to continue to be creative. And so when I think about what do I hope for in the future, I'm really hoping to become the manifestation of that which I imagined a very long time ago. And I can already see it like coming into play the more and more I share and become and teach and learn and love. So I'm hopeful for that. I'm hopeful for this. We will probably talk about this later, but a new community outreach or a community program that I'm doing for women who want to nourish their mind, body, spirit, and womb. And I'm just thoroughly excited about life and what is about to expand in my world.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. And I am touching and agreeing with you that everything that you're hoping for will not only come to pass, but that it will blow your socks off. It shall be, it already is.
Already is. And so
Yes.
it is.
And so it is.
I don't know the term ashe. That's just what it means. It means, and so it is.
Ashe. And so it is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
We are about to, everyone, go into one of my fun segments that I love, that I enjoy, and it is the Butterfly Chamber Lightning Round. Woo! Yes, get ready. Yes. So, with the Lightning Round, I get a chance to ask Desiree some quick questions.
Yes.
Quickly, and she has to answer with those thoughts that come to mind in 15 seconds or less.
Okay.
Quickly. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. What are some misconceptions of Des?
Misconceptions of Des. First and foremost is that I'm tall. Not tall. I'm only 5'4", but I think I just have a stature.
Come on now. Got 6 foot energy.
6 foot energy, and also that I am vegan. I am not vegan. I am someone who is a conscious eater. So I think about like what are nutrient dense foods, what are foods that are going to reduce toxins, and how do I cleanse my body. That's it.
Boom. And there we go. Brooklyn.
Hey.
I love it. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's what it gives. Love.
My mom.
What makes you smile?
Other people smiling.
Mama Sprauve.
Delight.
Favorite song?
This is actually hilarious because a lot of people don't realize that I am a dance hall girly, dance hall reggae, hard dance hall reggae. So one of my favorite songs is probably Step Out. It's a Jamaican song by Busy Signal. It's probably one of my favorite songs. It's hard to explain, but
yeah, Step Out by who?
Busy Signal.
All right. Basically, I want you to insert that as we close out. We want that as the closing song. We stepping out. All right. My last question in the lightning round for you is, if you could be an M&M, which M&M would you be?
Ooh. I would be the yellow M&M, the organic kind, the kind that they have in Europe that doesn't have all of the chemicals, but it would be yellow.
Yes.
Like
yes,
the sun
yellow.
and the color of the wellness you desire, which the logo are actually daisies to honor my maternal lineage because my mom's name and my grandma's name is Daisy.
Wow. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Please let the people know, because I know they are just like on fire to connect in with you and to even just give you your flowers. So what's next for you and how can people be in touch with you? Let us know your socials, all that good stuff.
Yes, so my socials on all platforms is Desiree.Sprauve. So that's DESIREE.SPRAUVE. And that's on all platforms. What's coming up is all things about nourishing your mind, body, spirit, and womb. There is going to be a community that is going to really expand people's experience of themselves and their wombs. And so we're going to meet for live coaching once a week. I can't wait. So that is what I'm excited about. As James knows, I'm always ripping and running and ripping. I'm always teaching yoga or some community event or child, there's always something going on. So just find me on any of the platforms and I would love to connect with you. Thank you so much, James, for this experience.
You are welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for blessing us with the gift. That is you and all of its dimensions. So thank you for that. Thank you for being on the Butterfly Chamber. And Des is someone that if you see her out, trust me, you can speak. She's a great connect. And that smile is like 1,000 watts. So you will be pleased. And fellas out there, don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. She's here. She's here. So connecting. Again, thank you all. This episode was Hope, Healing on Purpose and Evolving with Desiree Sprauve. I am J.R. McDonald. This is the Butterfly Chamber, and we are back at it again. We're going to end this year off strong, the way that we started it. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And even if we go across wounded, we coming across. So look out for us. See you soon. Bye.
It's the Butterfly Chamber with J.R. McDonald.
I know if not, but now maybe. You got 9 months, she get baby. Me no lazy, alright then. Oh yeah.